Welcome everyone to the 5th part of my Sonic marathon. Last time we finished a library of Sonic video games for good for now, so you might ask what's left there to talk about. In fact, the Sonic franchise encapsulates much more than just the games. There's comics, movies and plenty of shows to go over and discuss, as the Sonic franchise has always been a multimedia giant. Bear with me as this time we go on a journey to watch and enjoy every animated piece of Sonic media that exists so far. Get some snacks, sit back and enjoy. Premiering in 1993, Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog was the first animated Sonic series. Sonic and Tails travel mobiles in a Looney Tunes style world, fighting off the evil Dr. Robotnik and his bumbling robot henchman Scratch and Grounder. And that's basically it. There's no real story, a barely consistent setting and no rules, just Sonic using over-the-top cartoon logic to stop whatever weird scheme Robotnik came up with this week. Sonic is the Roadrunner or Bugs Bunny archetype who can turn into a buzzsaw at will and will often use bad disguises to deceive other characters.
Excuse me, gentlemen. There's been an outbreak of robot chickenpox in the area.
Oh, no!
I'll have to perform an emergency examination. SatAM! Very serious. Wait right here. Don't move. Gentlemen, what you need is more iron in your diet. Feel better?
And then there's Robotnik. Voiced by Long John Baldry, Robotnik is the highlight of the show. His over-the-top delivery, ridiculous tantrums and legendary one-liners like
Snooping as usual, I see.
turns him into a cult favorite and meme machine. A sort of Doofenshmirtzian villain of the week, except he's the same guy every week kind of villain. This depiction of the character this early on in the franchise is quite interesting to see.
One question. Yes? What is it? It's my new Egomatic Tunnelizer and Town Terrorizer.
Scratch and Grounder are usually the more forefront foils that try to catch or destroy Sonic throughout an episode. Fail numerous times until Robotnik steps in and fails spectacularly too. I don't really like Scratch, him and his voice annoy me. Grounder is okay though, he's like if Patrick was a villain.
Scratch! He's right behind me! Get ready to drop the wall!
Stuck? Here, let me help you. Anytime I can help like this, just let me know.
Sonic's voice actor is quite iconic too. There's a reason Jaleel White voiced him across multiple different shows. This show is insane, and I mean that as both a compliment and a warning. The animation is wildly inconsistent, but charmingly chaotic. Sonic stretches, morphs and teleports, it's pure cartoon logic. I do think the episodes often overstay their welcome. 20-minute long episodes for mediocre Looney Tunes skins is a bit much. I think the show would have benefited from 2 10-minute long segments like many other cartoons did at the time. Also, the show was aged to be very 90s. The quest for the Chaos Emerald story arc is kinda cool, as it's an actual 4-episode long story arc that sees Robotnik and Sonic traveling through time collecting the 4 Chaos Emeralds, which all possess different powers here. They are more akin to the Infinity Stones from Marvel here. At the end of the day, Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog hasn't aged gracefully in a traditional sense. It's not deep, it's not subtle, and it's certainly not serious.
I hate that hedgehog!
In the early 90s, Sonic the Hedgehog had not one but 2 Saturday morning cartoons. One was loud, slapstick and chaotic, the other dark, moody and surprisingly serious. A dystopian war story starring a cartoon hedgehog. This show, simply called Sonic the Hedgehog, more famous under the name Sonic SatAM, aired alongside Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog in 1993. Both were introduced by Dick and starred Julia White as Sonic, but that's where the similarities end. Sonic's SatAM went for something completely different, a dark, grim cyberpunk dystopia, a depiction of reality that rivals Blade Runner or Akira in my opinion. Robotnik isn't a joke here, he's terrifying. His empire has already won, the planet is smothered in metal.
Clever maneuver, Hedgehog. But the final move is mine.
Dr. Robotnik, we've sustained major damage to the main circuitry.
Then get it under control.
Sir, we must return to Robotropolis immediately or risk crashing.
Goodbye, Hedgehog.
Sonic lives in Knothole Village, a hidden rebel base in the Great Forest, where a small band of freedom fighters strive to free Mobotropolis from Robotnik's rule. The freedom fighters are a cast of original characters that later became the cast of the Archie Comics universe. Most famously Princess Sally Akon, the strategic leader and emotional core of the team and headstrong love interest for Sonic. You also got Roto and Bunny, who you can tell how much there is to say about him by how much I am saying about him right now. And last and least Antoine, a coward with an incredibly accurate and accurately annoying French accent.
Where's the dummy who belongs to this?
Yoo-hoo! Here I am! I am a natural King Fu artist.
Well, King, go foo someplace else or I'm gonna crown you. King Fu.
That silly Oged's fuel is just jealous of my incroyable skill.
Take up cooking.
Cook this, you jealous fools! I am showing all of Knothole that Antoine Depardieu is a legend in his own mind.
And you're really starting to tick me off.
God, please shut the fuck up. Still, despite Antoine's nasal sabotage, the ensemble gives the show heart and depth. They're not just comic relief, they care about each other and it's surprisingly grounded for a 90s cartoon. Let's talk about Dr. Robotnik. This is not the goofy Eggman we are used to from the games or adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. SatAM Robotnik, voiced by Jim Cummings, is a full-blown dictator. Cold, ruthless and always shrouded in shadow with a voice direction that brings a chill down my spine.
Tell me where Knothole is, old boy, and you have my word that you will not be roboticized.
I'm telling you nothing about nothing, Robotnik.
Oh, I wouldn't be so sure about that, old boy. I have machines of all kinds. Marvelous machines. They can do things you would not believe.
His roboticized army used to be people. His rule is total. The idea that you could be captured and turned into a soulless machine was legitimately scary for me as a kid. He's so menacing in the show that even as an adult he stands as one of the most threatening depictions of Robotnik ever put to screen. He also has a new henchman in the show, Snively, Robotnik's spineless cousin who lets himself get pushed around and enacts his will.
Oh, forgot to tell you. Watch that first step. Adios.
Season 2 of the show is where SatAM really finds its footing. It starts building a continuity, something rare for 90s Saturday morning TV. We get multiple concurring plotlines like Uncle Chuck becoming a spy inside Robotnik's empire, the freedom fighters trying to build a de-roboticizer to restore their friends, Sally's father's list guiding them to possible allies, and a mysterious dimension known as the Void. Even Norgus, the show's secondary villain, gets teased several episodes before he appears. A level of serialized storytelling that felt ambitious for its time. All plot threads that get unraveled with sometimes more and sometimes less focus, that all lead to a finale that is genuinely amazing.
I really hate that hedgehog. I hate him. I hate him. Hate him. Hate, 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 hate.
All right! Way past cool! Robotnik
Sadly, despite critical praise and a passionate fanbase, Sonic SatAM only lasted 2 seasons. It ended on a cliffhanger. The heroes victorious, Robotnik defeated, but then...
Yes! The big round guy finally let Sonic defeat him. Well, don't celebrate too soon, Hedgehog. Now it's my turn. And I'm not alone!
Snively emerges to take his place. And the continuation never came. Sonic SatAM's legacy lived on inside the Archie comics that began a long-running continuous alternate story of the Freedom Fighters, which ironically also got cancelled during a cliffhanger. Sonic SatAM was lightning in a bottle, an entirely different take on the franchise that was entertaining with beautiful art and actual stakes. A show like no other in a universe we will absolutely never see again. Still, I think Sonic SatAM was a decent show with some incredible heights.
Triplets born, the throne awaits. A seer warns of a deadly fate. Give up your children, separate. Bide your time, lie in wait. Sonic Underground. Sonic Underground.
There's a lot of weird Sonic media out there. Live action movies, comics, the fanfiction. But there's one show that will always stand out from the rest. In sheer what the actual fuck am I watching energy. This is Sonic Underground. Let's get this out of the way right now. The best thing about the show is the intro.
Prophecy come true. Sonic Underground. Sonic Underground.
That theme song, absolute banger. It slaps way harder than it has any right to. Unfortunately, the rest of the show never quite lives up to that first minute. Sonic Underground premiered in 1999, produced once again by Dick, the studio that gave us Adventures and SatAM. And interestingly, it reuses a lot from Sonic SatAM. Robotnik looks almost identical, the dark industrial designs of Robotropolis, basically the same. Even the tone feels like someone tried to fuse SatAM's dystopian vibe with a very 90s idea of coolness. Here's the premise. Sonic, Manic and Sonia are the long-lost children of Queen Adina. The royal family was split apart when Robotnik tried to take over the kingdom, and now the trio travels the land searching for their mother. Each sibling has a magic instrument that doubles as a weapon. Sonic has a guitar, Sonia a keyboard and Manic plays the drums. And yes, they perform an original song in every episode.
People don't always say what they mean, and things are not always what they seem.
In every single episode. And somehow, each one is worse than the last.
I'm looking for someone. Have you got 411? I'm searching everywhere for this special lady. Looking for someone. Do you have 411? Please help me if you can. Stop my lonely waiting.
The show leans hard into its musical gimmick, but instead giving us catchy songs that we are used to from Sonic, we get bizarre pop rock numbers with lyrics that sound like they were written 5 minutes before recording. It's the kind of thing that makes you secondhand cringe even if you just think about it.
We're gonna tear down the house, rip up the joint, doing the Mobius stall. We're gonna shake up the streets, blast out the beat, doing the Mobius stall. Gonna turn up the amps till the speakers are blown, rock off the roof till the cows come home. Come on, come on, come on, the thing's ready to blow.
Every good Sonic show needs Robotnik to have goons, his comic relief sidekicks. And here we have Sleet and Dingo, an evil wolf mercenary and his dim-witted shape-shifting henchman. They're fine, I guess. Compared to Scratch and Grounder's antics and Snively's bewilderment, these two are painfully forgettable. They're easily the weakest henchmen Robotnik ever had, and I don't care enough to spend more than 2 sentences on them. Everything about Sonic Underground feels like a strange fever dream. And worst of all, it never ends. Literally, not even like Sonic SatAM where they ended on a cliffhanger after a decently big victory. The show just stops. No reunion with the mother, no resolution to the prophecy, not even a slightly big win against Robotnik. Just an abrupt fade out like someone forgot to finish the story. So where does Sonic Underground stand in the grand timeline of Sonic TV shows? It's better than I expected at times, but still not good. The concept is wild, the intro goes hard, and I generally respect how weirdly ambitious it is sometimes, but between reused designs, awkward songs and tonal whiplash, it feels more like a curiosity than a classic.
Sonic Underground! Go, 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 go! Gotta go fast! Gotta go fast! Gotta go fast, too fast, too fast, too fast, too faster!
If you grew up watching this, you already know this show hits different. It's nostalgic, it's action-packed, and to me it was the definitive Sonic experience. We're talking about my favorite Sonic show, one that actually gave us a continuous storyline, character development, and surprisingly emotional moments with hopefully as little bias as possible. This is Sonic X. Sonic X aired in 2003 and honestly it's so much better than people give it credit for. The intro theme, another absolute banger.
So watch out for Sonic! Gotta go fast! Gotta go fast! Gotta go fast, too fast, too fast, too fast, too faster! Sonic! Gotta go fast! Gotta go fast! Gotta go fast, too fast, too fast, too fast, Sonic X!
It's the first Sonic show that feels like it exists in the same world as the games. Sonic, Tails, Amy, Knuckles and Eggman are all themselves. Not weird alternate versions or reimaginings, just exactly how you'd imagine them. If the only Sonic game you've ever played was Sonic Frontiers, you could still watch Sonic X and feel completely at home. You cannot say that about any of the previous TV shows. The story starts in Sonic's universe with all of the main cast being present and another of Eggman's plans being foiled by Sonic. However, this time it leads to Chaos Control being triggered and sending everyone to the human world. Eggman doesn't really care as long as he has a world to take control of, so he continues his business as usual. Everyone else eventually finds himself in the mansion of rich only child Christopher Thorndyke, probably the most controversial part of the show. I'll be the first to say, Christopher Thorndyke is nowhere near as bad or annoying of a character as people make him out to be. He's one of the main characters and becomes Sonic and Friends' friend and host in a strange new world. Sure, he's a little whiny at first, but the friendship he builds with Sonic and the rest of the cast is actually kinda sweet. There's something very real about their friendship, and his eventual arc, learning to let Sonic go, hits harder than you remember. I think I liked him less as a kid. Now as an adult, I very much understand why they made a human teenager main character. It's so both Sonic and the audience, which mostly consists of children, have a sort of anchor to this universe. I also love Eggman and his whole gang in this show, consisting of Boko, Deco and Bakun. Eggman is basically how we know him today, with a bit more anime over the top as usual, but he's written quite well and even has the occasional heartfelt moment. Boko and Deco have kinda interchangeable characteristics, but they have funny interactions with Eggman, so I like them. Bakun is Eggman's messenger that essentially delivers mail sent by Eggman to Sonic and the gang about what he's up to, and more often than not likes to blow everyone up afterwards.
We can do without you, crybaby.
No! Put me down!
Such a little shit, I love him. Season 1 of Sonic X introduces a bunch of original adventures mixed with light game elements, featuring Eggman at his creative peak, cranking out tons of unique mechs and bases. We get to know a bunch of human side characters that I think also nicely fit into the show. Most of Season 1 are random adventures, usually Eggman being up to no good or Icarus Emerald being found somewhere, but it also features storylines unfolding like the government planning an attack on Eggman's bases. Season 2 is where Sonic X gets really interesting, adapting Sonic Adventure 1, Adventure 2 and even Sonic Battle into multi-episode story arcs. The Adventure 1 arc runs 6 episodes covering the whole story of Chaos. It's surprisingly accurate to the game, though the multi-perspective storytelling from Adventure 1 doesn't really fit perfectly with Sonic X's usual writing. Still, it's impressive how much they try to capture from the source material and I really like this adaptation of the game. Afterwards comes Adventure 2, another 6 episodes adapting Shadow's story, Jared Robotnik and the Ark. And honestly, something about this adaptation didn't really feel quite right to me, but it was still pretty good. After those arcs comes a very loose adaptation of Sonic Battle, if only because Emerald is here, and the Eggman for President and Eggman Get Arrested arcs, which are quite a joy. It's also interesting how Eggman's machinery shifts in the season. He goes from using independent, personality-driven robots to more cockpit-controlled mechs, almost like he's realizing that trusting AI isn't working out for him. Overall, Season 2 is solid, but it does feel like a little less tight and exciting than Season 1. And then we hit Season 3. This season feels like an entirely different show. Sonic and friends have returned to the universe, spoiler alert, but they immediately up and go leave it behind, traveling across the galaxy in a giant spaceship to battle a new intergalactic threat, the Meta-Rex, robotic aliens that steal the life course of planets. We also get Cosmo, a new character, the sole survivor of a plant-like alien race destroyed by the Meta-Rex. She joins the crew and becomes Tails' love interest, leading to some genuinely touching moments. And of course, there's the dark Supersonic scene. Some might say this is the best season of the show, although I kinda miss some of the humans from the first two seasons. I totally see why it's the most beloved season of the show. It's more original and grand, and the Meta-Rex make for some of the most interesting villains in Sonic's history. Whenever you talk about the show, there's something that needs to be addressed. The 4Kids dub. I grew up with it, I find it nostalgic, but there's no denying that it butchers a lot of the tone and emotion, especially in Season 3. Whole scenes were cut, character moments trimmed, and the final 2 episodes are absolutely gutted in mind-baffling ways that I don't even want to spoil here because the original scene generally made me tear up and in English it's just like, oh yeah, okay. If you really want the experience of Sonic X the way it was meant to be seen, watch the Japanese version. It's darker, more emotional, and a lot of episodes hit way harder. Also they have Live and Learn Play in the Adventure 2 adaptations, which they also cut from the dub, and it's just so good boy. Sonic X isn't perfect, but it's a Sonic show that understood its source material best. It's consistent, it's heartfelt, and treats its characters with respect. It gave us arcs, continuity, and actual character development. So yeah, it's totally nostalgic bias probably, but Sonic X will always be my favorite Sonic show.
I was in my evil lair all day waiting for that package. I had to take a 2-minute shower. 2 minutes! And when I get out, there's a note on my front door saying I missed the delivery and I need to pick it up here. Why couldn't you just leave the thing instead of leaving the note?
Because we require a signature.
So, can I have it?
I just need the note left at your residence.
But I just signed for it!
You only have to sign for it at home. To pick it up here, you need the note that we left. Why are you complicating this, sir? It's a very simple policy.
I have a simple policy, too. Decimator Bot, engage!
Thuggery will not get you your package any sooner, sir.
You know, when people hear the word Sonic Boom, most of them start twitching uncomfortably. The games? Yeah, rough. But the show? That's a completely different story. Sonic Boom the TV show was the best thing to come out of the entire sub-brand, by a long shot. It's probably the funniest Sonic series ever made. It's a sitcom first and an action show second. Every episode leans heavily into meta humor, poking fun at video game cliches, fandom culture, and even the franchise itself. The jokes range from clever character banter to absurd scenarios that feel like they were written just to make the animators laugh. That said, not all of the jokes land. There are episodes that feel like they're trying too hard to be random or meta for the sake of it, but when it does hit, it's genuinely hilarious. The Sonic Boom main cast is here: Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Amy, and Styx, reimagined with slightly goofier edge. Sonic's a bit of a sarcastic slacker, Tails is still a tech genius but more awkward, Amy is just Amy. Knuckles is a lovable himbo now.
I found the note. It was in the dumpster behind my lair. I hope you're happy. Now give me my package.
It appears that package is back out for delivery.
Out for delivery? What? Why?
Nobody came to pick it up.
I came to pick it up!
That's not what it says here.
But the real star of the show, Again, like in many of the other ones, is Dr. Eggman. This version of Eggman is a lot more casual. He's basically a friend of the gang that only stirs up trouble as a habit or something. A socially inept, self-sabotaging villain who spends as much time hanging out with the heroes as he does trying to defeat them. The show's strength lies in its episode being short, silly and self-contained. You can drop in anywhere and immediately get what's going on. Season 1 episode 23 was my favorite episode. Season 1 episode 23 was my favorite episode example of everything I just talked about. It has Tails' crush on another fox trying to swoon her and going to the different characters to ask for pickup advice, which is funny on its own, but the real cinema comes from the B-plot that has Eggman trying to pick up a parcel, but the delivery service being unhelpful and incompetent every step of the way.
I know you have my package in your wagon. Just give it to me.
Once it's in the wagon, I have to deliver it to your residence.
Yo, for the love of...
It's beautiful and it's way too close to home. What makes Sonic Boom stand out is how comfortable it is with its own absurdity. There are jokes about corporate greed, copyright and even fanfiction tropes. One episode has a very creepy scenario involving a Sonic superfan.
We were in a terrible accident that wasn't intentional because it was an accident. I'm nursing you back to health.
He's literally me. It's aware but never cynical, and that's what makes it work. Sonic Boom may have been a failed experiment, but its legacy became something totally unexpected. A pretty funny TV sitcom.
Your package.
Finally! My new background music generator. This'll really make my attacks more exciting.
The newest Sonic show to air, and the one that most recently divided the fanbase, is Sonic Prime. Sonic Prime is a multiverse story, but one with some interesting original twists. Sonic accidentally shatters a mystical crystal that holds reality together, causing reality to split into 3 distinct worlds, each with alternate versions of the main cast. The Water World with pirates led by Knuckles the Dread, the Jungle World scavengers led by Fawny Rose, and the Eggman World, a dystopian city ruled by 5 Eggman variations called the Chaos Council, and rebels against a regime led by Rebel Rouge. Well, technically it's 5 worlds, but the 4th and 5th ones are literally empty. Sonic remains unchanged, since he was in the middle of the reality-destroying blast, so he starts dimension hopping, jumping from world to world to collect shards of the reality crystal to stitch the universe back together. It's a solid premise with tons of potential. Multiverse stories can go wild, with infinite worlds, infinite character twists, infinite storytelling opportunities, but Prime doesn't do that. Instead it sticks to just those 3 universes, and while that obviously helps with budget and cast management, it also severely limits the show's sense of scope. This is where the setup starts to crack. Each world ends up feeling extremely surface level. The water world is just water, the jungle world is just a jungle, and the dystopian Eggman world looks cool, but we never get into its backstory or actual situation. They're not fully realized alternate realities and more aesthetic filters applied to the cast. Of only 3 worlds, Prime could have dug deep, explored them, built lore, let the characters breathe. Instead, the settings stay thin and mostly unchanged across the whole series. We can talk about the Chaos Council, 5 ultimate Eggmen who collectively rule the dystopian world. In a way it tries to redo the premise of Sonic Forces, but somehow it does it even less interesting as they are a heavily comedic and goofy group with no substance, and we again barely get to see what the Eggmen really do to the underlings. I don't exactly love the individual identities they gave to the 5 Eggmen either. We got the senile old man Eggman, the philosophical Eggman, baby Eggman, teenager Eggman, and basically normal Eggman but with a toupee. The Chaos Council becomes better in Season 2, as they actually start doing things in that season. They become more threatening and enjoyable in my opinion, although I'm not sure if it's because they were actually written better or just because they started to grow on me. Either way, they never quite live up to the promise of the concept. The standout element of Sonic Prime is probably 9, the alternate Tails from the Eggman world. As a minor spoiler, he becomes the main villain of Season 3, as him being emotionally wounded and alone in the Eggman world makes him want to take over the empty 4th alternate world and make it as Utopia, and I think it makes for the most interesting idea the show plays with. Even if the finale feels drawn out with repetitive fights and please listen to me scenes, it's emotionally there, but the pacing drags the impact down. Still, 9 is the closest Prime gets to real depth, and he alone carries a lot of the show's narrative weight, even though the show only really is for children. All the characters have different voice actors compared to the game, so the Canadian union laws requiring Canadian talent to be in Canadian productions. Sonic and Shadow sound pretty solid. Everyone else feels a little off. Not bad, just noticeably different. Oh yeah, Shadow is also here, and he's basically perfectly written, and he and Sonic are totally gay in the show, and I ship them.
I never knew you were a hugger.
Do you want me to save you or not?
Sonic Prime has a fantastic premise, flashes of brilliance, and some genuinely memorable character work, but it also struggles with shallow worldbuilding, repetitive pacing, and an undercooked villain concept that never quite reaches its potential. It's not the best Sonic show ever made, but it is one of the more interesting experiments the franchise has tried in years. Welcome to this short intermission where we rank all of the Sonic short films that were released on the internet over the years. Night of the Hedgehog, 7 out of 10, a tie-in for Sonic Unleashed. It's fun, well animated, the ghosts are funny, and the big fight scene is cool. Sonic Mania Adventures, 8 out of 10, a tie-in for the Sonic Mania DLC. Has some beautiful animation, and Metal Sonic is the menace he should be. Team Sonic Racing Overdrive, 7 out of 10, an ad for Team Sonic Racing. The animation isn't the best, but it makes up for incredible comedy. Chow in Space, 6 out of 10, just a cool little reference to the Chow in Space posters from Adventure 2. Sonic Colors Rise of the Wisps, 7 out of 10, a tie-in for the re-release of Sonic Colors. It's intense and interesting and actually has voice acting. Sonic Frontiers Prologue Divergence, 9 out of 10, a tie-in for Sonic Frontiers. It's an interesting as a character deep dive on Knuckles and his backstory and how he wound up where he is in Frontiers. Sonic Superstars Trio of Trouble, 6 out of 10, it's a funny backstory to Superstars. Thank the Sniper fans finally have the moment, all 2 of them. Sonic X Shadow Generations Dark Beginnings, 10 out of 10, a tie-in for Shadow Generations, and I mean come on, it's just fucking awesome. Chao Tales, 6 out of 10, cute little TikTok shots with Chaos being cute. Sonic Racing Crosswords, the animation, 6 out of 10, an ad for Sonic Racing Crosswords that is basically a music video with gorgeous animation but not a must watch.
Finally, the only thing left to be done is to capture the essential life data from your counterpart. Then you'll be complete, my Hyper Metal Sonic. When you awaken, kill him!
This is the Sonic the Hedgehog OVA. A beautifully animated, totally weird and deeply quotable relic from a time when nobody quite knew what Sonic was even supposed to be. Originally released in Japan in 1996 as 2 episodes of an OVA, this anime was later stitched together and released as a single movie in the West under the title Sonic the Hedgehog the Movie. And while that makes it sound important, this film is not exactly a cinematic epic. Sonic and Tails are chilling on planet Freedom, next to a crashed Boeing 747 and the USS Enterprise, when some old guy shows up and tells them to go to the president. So they go do that, but whoops, Robotnik is there and holds the president's daughter, who is a catgirl for some reason, hostage. The president is a human, I think. So what have you been up to that your daughter has a tail? Why is this not explained? Robotnik claims that his facilities are gonna blow up soon and take the entire planet with it if nobody stops it. And the only person capable of doing the job is Sonic, of course. On the way there, they meet Knuckles, and he's a cowboy now, and he's also here now. Eventually, the gang makes it to Robotnik's HQ to stop his reactor from exploding, but whoops, what do you know, it was a trap that steals Sonic's DNA, and we finally made it to the point of the movie that is actually noteworthy. Metal Sonic. Or Hyper Metal Sonic, as he's called for some reason, and holy shit, this is one of the coolest portrayals of Metal Sonic of all time. No dialogue, no cheesy monologues, just pure menace. He moves like Sonic but deadlier. His fight scenes are intense, the animation sets his weight and power, and he's even given a poignant ending. The final fight scene between Sonic and Metal is so fucking cool. The animation is beautiful and has a ton of weight. We have quippy one-liners like,
You might know everything
I'm going to do, but that's not going to help you since I know everything you're going to do. Strange, isn't it?
The last 15 minutes or so are the only reason why people even remember the OVA. The animation is clean, expressive, and way more detailed than it had any right to be. The designs feel like a strange fusion of Western and Japanese tropes. Sonic's world has this weird post-apocalyptic aesthetic, with floating continents and ruined cities that suggest a real backstory and lore that no one ever explains. Same with the President and Sarah. The movie kinda acts like you're just supposed to know these characters, but they're completely new, very weird additions to the Sonic universe, and they also never appear again. Sonic the Hedgehog the movie is the time capsule of Sonic's weirdest era. It's not trying to explain lore or build a universe, it's just throwing Sonic into a blender of anime tropes and hoping you're along for it. It's short, it's kinda janky, and it's got some of the most awkward voice acting ever recorded, but it also is one of the best Sonic vs Metal Sonic moments ever animated. And it has a strange, undeniable charm. It's still a reasonably famous piece of Sonic media, as certain aspects of it are still referenced all the time, even if other parts are best left forgotten. This movie doesn't make much sense, but it makes an impression, and in the world of Sonic, that's more than enough. Thank you for watching my retrospective of every piece of Sonic animated media, and I couldn't think of a better way to call this video. It was quite a chore for me to watch all of these things for the last few months, but I came out a different man. Not quite sure in what way, but it definitely changed me. All the same, it's nice to have finally watched all of these things thoroughly, as I hadn't done so for most of them, and for most part I at the very least wasn't bored. I'm the Sonic guy, so of course I have to Sonic. Anyway, no idea what I'm gonna do next, since I usually want these videos to be all encompassing about a certain topic. I guess that means I have to read all 600 something Sonic comics now, or just do live action content next. Or even better, let me know what kind of topic you want me to unravel next, and I hope I'll see you again in my next video. Until next time.